to help Mi-rae change her current fate. However, Mi-rae feels that her current life isn't so bad. Elder Mi-rae asks her if listening to people mock her parents and then crying in the bathroom is living well. Is she happy being the only one of her friends who's falling behind? Mi-rae says why should she compare herself to others? Seeing her impossible to help attitude, Elder Mi-rae is furious. The two argue more intensely, and Elder Mi-rae even angrily tells her that if she doesn't want to change and isn't willing to face reality, she'll just be a burden to her brother her whole life. So what's the point of living? She might as well die. After hearing this, Mi-rae is completely devastated. That night when no one's around, she walks into the ocean feeling hopeless. This scene is witnessed by the wealthy heir Park Se-joo from a distance. To see clearly what the girl in the water is doing, Park Se-joo grabs a camera and zooms in to observe. At the same time, Mi-rae notices fish swimming freely in the water. Thinking about how even such small creatures are fighting desperately to survive, she instantly feels hope to live again. To cast off all the burdens in her heart, she raises her hand and takes off her clothes, then unzips her skirt. Park Se-joo is embarrassed and quickly puts down the camera, but he can't help peeking to see what the girl wants to do. He sees the girl dive into the ocean, and then under the bright moonlight, she swims freely with the fish, shedding all constraints. It's the beautiful moonlight's fault. Park Se-joo instantly falls for Mi-rae. The next day when Mi-rae wakes up, she sees Elder Mi-rae sitting by her bed. Elder Mi-rae tearfully scolds Mi-rae for trying to commit suicide, but Mi-rae explains that in the ocean, she saw tiny fish swimming desperately to survive, so she decided to strip naked and break through her limitations. Now she's determined to change. Back at the company, she immediately tells off a customer who insulted her. Then she submits her resignation to her manager. She initially wanted to follow Elder Mi-rae's advice and take the civil service exam, but after careful consideration, she chooses to become a TV program director because that's the career she truly loves. Meanwhile, Elder Mi-rae pretends to be her mother and goes to a matchmaking agency. Without hesitation, she asks the matchmaker to show her all the profiles of high-quality men. When she sees the list, she's shocked. Some of these men will become gamblers in the future, some will commit fraud, and some will even commit murder and arson. This is practically a prison roster. With no choice, she picks from the least promising list. Surprisingly, she finds some gems. There's a real estate tycoon and an internet giant on this list. Many of these men will make comebacks and become industry moguls. Elder Mi-rae excitedly asks the matchmaker to copy these profiles for her. The matchmaker is stunned, thinking Elder Mi-rae has lost her mind. Later, Elder Mi-rae learns that Mi-rae plans to become a director at a TV station. She quickly calls to stop Mi-rae, saying the man who will ruin Mi-rae's life is at the TV station and she shouldn't repeat the same mistakes. The real reason is that her original future husband was a TV station host, and she doesn't want to meet that man again. But during their phone call, Mi-rae accidentally gets into a car accident. The person she hits is her original future husband, Kim Shin. Since Mi-rae hit Kim Shin, she's extremely panicked. To reduce compensation, Mi-rae immediately pretends she hurt her back, but Kim Shin sees through her act right away. Seeing she wants to play games, Kim Shin takes her straight to the police station without a word. Unexpectedly, Mi-rae discovers that Kim Shin's driver's license has expired. Kim Shin is terrified. If his unlicensed driving is exposed, his career will be completely ruined. Then he remembers the TV director materials in Mi-rae's car, so he makes a deal with Mi-rae. He'll arrange for her to work at the TV station, and she'll keep his secret. Soon Mi-rae starts working at the TV station. At the same time, the wealthy heir Park Se-joo also conceals his identity and starts working at his family's TV station. Because Mi-rae damaged her brother's car, she tries to avoid her brother who works at the TV station and ends up running into Park Se-joo's editing room by mistake. Park Se-joo immediately recognizes Mi-rae as the girl he fell in love with at the beach. Elder Mi-rae wanted to come to the TV station to stop Mi-rae, but she sees the two of them together and is instantly delighted. She never expected that Park Se-joo, whom she's been searching for, was right under her nose. Elder Mi-rae immediately asks Park Se-joo if he has a girlfriend. Park Se-joo says no with a smile. Elder Mi-rae wants to continue questioning Park Se-joo, but Mi-rae feels embarrassed and quickly asks Elder Mi-rae to stop. Then Elder Mi-rae pulls Mi-rae to a private spot. Mi-rae thinks Elder Mi-rae will be angry about her working at the TV station, but Elder Mi-rae praises her for doing an excellent job. She tells her that Se-joo is super rich and will create a media empire in the future with the power to influence the entire country. Elder Mi-rae says that originally during the Jeju Island trip, Se-joo would have fallen in love at first sight with his future wife Yukyung, but Se-joo is still single now, which means their futures have changed. But Elder Mi-rae never imagined that Yukyung has already met Kim Shin in Mi-rae's place. Elder Mi-rae insists that Mi-rae must seduce Se-joo and urges her to take action immediately. After Mi-rae leaves, Elder Mi-rae takes out Kim Shin's photo and apologizes to her husband. Later, Mi-rae finds Se-joo in the music storage room and discovers he's reading her script. Thinking her writing is terrible, Mi-rae quickly apologizes, but Se-joo praises Mi-rae's excellent work. When choosing background music for the editing script, they both instinctively pick the same same song. Looking at the handsome Se-joo, Mi-rae doesn't understand why a rich person would come work as a photographer. It turns out that a few days ago, Se-joo told his grandmother he was going to learn at the family TV station and planned to conceal his identity and start from the bottom. Grandmother warned Se-joo to come back and take over the company after gaining experience, since the company is now controlled by the daughters-in-law and all her sons were dominated to death by their wives. Se-joo says that in today's society, if a son dies, who would blame the daughter-in-law? Then who should be blamed for my parents? Who died together, me or grandmother? This guy's values are so sound that anyone would choose Se-joo as a husband. Elder Mi-rae keeps calling Mi-rae but gets no answer. On the other side, Kim Shin also can't reach Mi-rae. Just as Kim Shin thinks Mi-rae has exposed his unlicensed driving, Elder Mi-rae calls the office, claiming to be Mi-rae's mother. Kim Shin comes to the lobby, wanting Elder Mi-rae to stop Mi-rae from revealing his unlicensed driving. Seeing her husband from 25 years ago, Elder Mi-rae unleashes all her pent-up emotions and tears into Kim Shin. Kim Shin looks at Elder Mi-rae in complete confusion, having no idea what she's talking about, and thinks Mi-rae and Elder Mi-rae are scheming against him. Meanwhile, Mi-rae returns to the office. Producer Bae finds Mi-rae and tells her she's been fired because she's too old. Mi-rae walks out of the office sadly, holding back tears while trying to cheer herself up, but when she's about to say goodbye to Kim Shin, he splashes a glass of cold water in her face. Kim Shin calls Mi-rae a liar, saying she's blackmailing him with his unlicensed driving. Mi-rae is speechless, saying she doesn't have time to waste on people who have nothing to do with her. Se-joo comes to the changing room to comfort Mi-rae. Mi-rae tries to pretend she's fine, but tears stream down her face anyway as she shares her grievances. Kim Shin learns that Mi-rae was fired by producer Bae because of her age. This reminds Kim Shin of what the chairman initially told him, that he was removed from his anchor position because of his age. Mi-rae returns to the conference room to get her notebook, only to find it's pinned under PD Lee's chair on the floor. Seeing that PD Lee has no intention of helping, Mi-rae has to crawl on the floor to get it. Seeing his sister like this, her brother angrily tells Mi-rae to leave and says he'll get it for her after the meeting. Just as Mi-rae is about to leave, Kim Shin stops her and asks if she has any good news leads. Mi-rae suggests interviewing a poor elderly person who donated to charity. Everyone thinks it's ridiculous, but to everyone's surprise, Kim Shin agrees and makes Mi-rae the assistant for this project. Her brother takes Mi-rae to the cafeteria and demands she leave the TV station immediately because he doesn't want to see his sister being bullied here. Mi-rae holds her brother's hand and acts cute with him. Her soft-hearted brother eventually agrees. Back home, her brother asks Elder Mi-rae to make him some porridge the next morning. Elder Mi-rae nervously asks if he's sick. Her brother awkwardly reminds Elder Mi-rae that not every man likes being called Appa. Thinking Elder Mi-rae understood, she still habitually calls him Appa. Mi-rae and the others arrive at a stationery store to interview a poor elderly person. Kim Shin confidently rushes forward to introduce himself as an anchor wanting to interview him. The old man scoops up a ladle of water and pours it over his head. Everyone is shocked. Kim Shin wants to try again, but the old man picks up a broom and shoos Kim Shin away. Just when everyone is at a loss, Mi-rae brings over a dog. As it happens, the old man loves dogs. After seeing the puppy, the old man changes his fiery attitude and becomes willing to accept Kim Shin's interview. After this incident, Mi-rae successfully gets the opportunity to work at the TV station. At this time, Yukyung returns to work at the TV station after being discharged from the hospital. She's very enthusiastic with every male colleague, feeding them pizza one by one. Mi-rae is about to introduce herself when Yukyung directly asks how old she is, saying she looks a bit old. Mi-rae asks Yukyung's age back. Yukyung cutely says she's 12. When Kim Shin comes over, she immediately rushes up to hug him. After this series of expert flirting moves, Mi-rae feels disgusted. Later Yukyung goes to Se-joo's editing room. To seduce Se-joo, she deliberately spreads her legs seductively. Thinking the wealthy heir would take the bait, Se-joo instead covers her legs with his jacket. Without thinking, Yukyung throws the jacket aside. Se-joo can't stand it anymore and asks her if she wants to sleep with him, saying it seems like Ms. Yukyung gets all her programs this way, but unfortunately, he's just a photographer and doesn't have that much power. Yukyung feels humiliated and is about to retort when Mi-rae calls Se-joo outside. The two of them laughing and chatting outside makes Yukyung even more furious. Mi-rae watches the interview footage with the elderly man alongside Kim Shin, recalling what Kim Shin said to the old man that ultimately moved him to accept the interview, and now with Kim Shin standing behind her giving guidance, Mi-rae develops inexplicable feelings for Kim Shin. This scene is discovered by Elder Mi-rae. To monitor Mi-rae, Elder Mi-rae comes to work as a cleaner at the TV station. Elder Mi-rae warns her not to associate with Kim Shin because Kim Shin is Mi-rae's husband, and Kim Shin will make her life miserable. Yukyung asks Mi-rae about her relationship with Se-joo. Mi-rae says, "Don't you have Kim Shin?" Yukyung smiles and says that when it comes to men, the more the better. Mi-rae smiles bitterly. Then Mi-rae quickly runs to find Elder Mi-rae to discuss strategy. If both men are seduced by Yukyung, she'll have nothing left. Elder Mi-rae tells Mi-rae that Se-joo's destined element is water. That night, Mi-rae deliberately rides in Se-joo's car, constantly thinking about how to use water to seduce Se-joo. She splashes water on her face, but the clueless Se-joo thinks she's hot and asks if she wants him to turn on the air conditioning. Seeing this doesn't work, Mi-rae asks to go to a car wash. While the machine is washing the car outside, Mi-rae suddenly opens the sunroof, and they both get drenched. Back at the TV station, Mi-rae feels incredibly embarrassed. Se-joo thoughtfully drapes a blanket over Mi-rae. Seeing that Se-joo is also wet, Mi-rae asks him to share the blanket. Looking at the scar faintly visible on Mi-rae's shoulder, Se-joo recalls the scene of saving Mi-rae at the beach that day when he fell in love with her at first sight. Mi-rae and Se-joo chat happily, and all this happens to be seen by Kim Shin passing by. Meanwhile, a man in black steps onto the time machine. Kim Shin wakes up from a dream in which the person he hit wasn't Yukyung but Mi-rae, and they became lovers. In the dream, Mi-rae had a scar on her shoulder. The next morning, Kim Shin meets Mi-rae in the elevator. Kim Shin says, "Excuse me," to Mi-rae, then pulls down her clothes. The scar on her shoulder is exactly the same as in his dream. Mi-rae scolds Kim Shin, asking if he took the wrong medicine this morning. Watching Mi-rae leave, Kim Shin can't believe it. Mi-rae's proposal to interview the poor elderly person achieved very high ratings. After the show ends, Se-joo pulls Mi-rae over to show her that her name is written at the end of the program. Mi-rae excitedly hugs Se-joo. Seeing them so intimate, Kim Shin is instantly consumed with jealousy and slams the table, loudly scolding them both, saying he told them not to date at the company. It looks like the war between these two men is about to begin. Standing in the stairwell, Kim Shin doesn't know what got into him today to suddenly lose his temper like that. At noon, Kim Shin and Yukyung return from lunch to find Se-joo and Mi-rae together, standing very close. An inexplicable anger rises in Kim Shin's heart, and he rushes over yelling at them, scaring Mi-rae so much she falls to the ground. That night, both Mi-rae and Kim Shin have the same dream where they're intimately together, but when her brother discovers them, he strongly objects. They both wake up startled from the dream. Soon after, the scheduled guest for Kim Shin's morning show doesn't show up. When producer Bae is anxious, he runs into Elder Mi-rae, having heard she can predict the future, so he grabs her as a last-minute replacement. Unexpectedly, as soon as she's on the show, Elder Mi-rae bluntly says that Kim Shin will soon lose his TV station anchor job and will have to rely on his wife's income. His wife will come home exhausted every morning and won't get any sympathy from him. Everyone is shocked. Kim Shin doesn't want to hear any more and ends the show, but all this is witnessed by the chairman who loves fortune-telling. After the show, Mi-rae catches up with Elder Mi-rae and asks if what she just said is true. Elder Mi-rae tells Mi-rae that this is exactly why she traveled back in time to have her choose Se-joo. At this moment, Mi-rae receives calls from both Kim Shin and Se-joo asking to meet her. Elder Mi-rae lets Mi-rae decide for herself. After intense internal struggle, Mi-rae ultimately chooses to meet Se-joo and asks him to go to an amusement park together the next day. Se-joo shows a shy smile. Then Elder Mi-rae walks down the street looking pale. Just then, the chairman's car passes by, and Elder Mi-rae faints on the ground and is rescued by the chairman. The doctor tells the chairman that Elder Mi-rae's body is aging rapidly. The chairman asks Elder Mi-rae why she deliberately approached her. Elder Mi-rae tells the chairman she dreams of the future in her dreams. Seeing the chairman doesn't believe her, Elder Mi-rae reveals Se-joo's identity. The chairman is shocked. Elder Mi-rae suggests the chairman send Kim Shin to work in New York and tells the chairman before leaving to open the window and look outside around 10:30 p.m. 3 days later. Meanwhile, Se-joo invites Mi-rae to watch a short film in his rental apartment. Mi-rae seriously watches Se-joo's work while Se-joo gazes at Mi-rae affectionately and reaches out to wipe food from her lips. The intimate atmosphere reaches its peak. 3 days later in the morning, the chairman announces that due to Kim Shin's work mistakes, he'll be sent to work in the countryside, along with other related personnel. Seeing that Kim Shin isn't being sent to New York and has even implicated innocent people, Elder Mi-rae decides to help everyone. A few days later, Elder Mi-rae asks Kim Shin out and hands him an umbrella. As soon as he takes the umbrella, it starts raining, shocking Kim Shin. Elder Mi-rae texts Mi-rae, telling her to take her brother to the highest point in 10 minutes. The chairman also opens the window at the time Elder Mi-rae specified. Just then, a distant tower suddenly collapses. This scene terrifies everyone. This incident not only makes Kim Shin believe Elder Mi-rae can predict the future, but the chairman also becomes convinced. Then Elder Mi-rae says that the next day there will be an arson incident at Tuxeum subway station that will kill and injure over 100 people. They can go film it in advance for an exclusive. This way, everyone won't have to be sent away. Kim Shin doesn't believe it at all, saying if it's true, they should go save people. Finally, Se-joo suggests they save people while filming the show. Everyone then begins planning the rescue and filming in earnest. Soon everyone arrives at the subway station. Just as everyone is anxiously waiting, a man in a red hat sneaks into the train car, suddenly pours gasoline on the subway, takes out a lighter and throws it hard on the ground. Instantly, the car is engulfed in flames and chaos ensues. Kim Shin chases the red hat man on the subway with Mi-rae following closely behind, live streaming the scene on her phone. When the Red Hat Man has nowhere to escape and is caught by Kim Shin, the two quickly scuffle. Elder Mi-rae and her brother are both worried about Mi-rae's safety. Kim Shin tells Mi-rae to leave quickly. At this moment, the Red Hat Man picks up a cone and throws it at Mi-rae. Mi-rae accidentally hits an advertising sign and gets pinned under the falling sign. Kim Shin immediately runs back to save Mi-rae, but she tells him not to worry about her and insists he chase the Red Hat Man. Meanwhile, learning that the fire hydrant valve won't release water, Se-joo quickly finds the locked water valve. Thinking of Mi-rae trapped inside, he desperately tries to cut the iron chain with pliers. Kim Shin closely follows the Red Hat Man with his phone, warning him that the whole country is watching. While the Red Hat Man is panicking, he's caught by arriving police. Kim Shin rushes back to save Mi-rae. The moment Mi-rae is rescued by Kim Shin, Se-joo finally opens the water valve. He then hurries to find Mi-rae, but when he arrives, he sees the two of them sitting together laughing and chatting. Se-joo walks away feeling dejected. Afterward, Se-joo acts cute with Mi-rae, asking her to massage him. The two laugh and chat, and all this is also witnessed by Kim Shin. Everyone is holding a celebration party when Mi-rae walks in. Both Se-joo and Kim Shin ask Mi-rae to sit next to them. At this moment, her brother gives up his seat for Mi-rae to sit next to him. Looking at the three men in front of her, Mi-rae doesn't know how to choose and ends up sitting on the other side of the sofa. Se-joo quickly brings Mi-rae snacks, and Kim Shin isn't about to be outdone, pouring her a drink. Yukyung watches all this and gnashes her teeth with jealousy. Back home, both Mi-rae and Kim Shin want to call each other. They both use taking classes as an excuse to agree to meet tomorrow. All this happens to be overheard by Elder Mi-rae. Elder Mi-rae demands that Mi-rae not associate with Kim Shin. Unexpectedly, Mi-rae says she's different from Elder Mi-rae, who only cares about money and is too shallow. Elder Mi-rae's eyes well up with tears as she says in a choked voice, "When I was your age, I had dreams and passion, but marriage isn't something you can maintain with just dreams." With that, Elder Mi-rae angrily leaves. At this moment, the man in black who traveled from the future finds Elder Mi-rae. Elder Mi-rae reacts and quickly runs away. A black car happens to drive by. It's men sent by the chairman to find Elder Mi-rae, and they accidentally save her. Elder Mi-rae deliberately tells the chairman she dreamed about her grandson. The chairman anxiously asks about the dream's content. Elder Mi-rae mysteriously says she can't reveal it yet. Yukyung attends a party of wealthy people to gather news leads and inadvertently sees Se-joo in a suit and tie. Only then does Yukyung learn that Se-joo is the chairman's grandson. After the party, Se-joo asks Yukyung to keep his secret, especially from Mi-rae. He doesn't want his identity to scare Mi-rae away. The next day, Mi-rae and Kim Shin go on a date. Se-joo calls wanting to invite Mi-rae to dinner at his home. Mi-rae says she's with someone else. Se-joo asks who Mi-rae is with. Mi-rae doesn't answer, but Se-joo has already guessed. Mi-rae and Kim Shin arrive at a park. Mi-rae inadvertently sees a couple shooting wedding photos on location. Mi-rae suddenly remembers Elder Mi-rae saying that if she's with Kim Shin, someone will die. Mi-rae instantly feels somewhat panicked. Yukyung knows about Se-joo's feelings for Mi-rae and encourages him to actively pursue her, offering advice for a romantic confession. Then Yukyung goes to the company and invites Mi-rae to drink at a bar that evening. But when Mi-rae arrives at the bar, a group of people throw flower petals at her. Se-joo walks out slowly holding flowers and confesses to Mi-rae. Just as Mi-rae is about to accept the flowers, Kim Shin rushes over. Suddenly everyone freezes. Just as Mi-rae is about to accept Se-joo, rage rises in Kim Shin's heart. He walks up to them, criticizes and mocks them both, then angrily leaves. Mi-rae chases after Kim Shin to explain, but Kim Shin, still angry, won't listen. Watching Se-joo drinking alone, Yukyung feels heartbroken. Yukyung finds Mi-rae and tells her to call Se-joo to draw a clear line. Mi-rae dials Se-joo's number and is about to speak when Se-joo hangs up, saying he doesn't want to hear it. Then Kim Shin calls Se-joo. Outside, Kim Shin says Se-joo is just a basic level photographer whom he doesn't even consider a threat. Se-joo coldly laughs and asks if a visual director can't like the company's rookie writer along with the host, and questions whether Kim Shin would give up Mi-rae if he were the TV station's president. On the way home, Kim Shin keeps thinking about Se-joo's words and then calls someone to send over Se-joo's resume. The next day, because of the show, Mi-rae seeks Elder Mi-rae's help. Elder Mi-rae warns her that she won't tell her anything until she follows her arrangements. Unexpectedly, all this is captured by surveillance equipment the chairman installed. The chairman questions who Mi-rae is. Elder Mi-rae lies, saying Mi-rae is her niece and the person Se-joo likes. The chairman immediately calls Se-joo to confirm. Se-joo admits he does like Mi-rae. The chairman decides to meet Mi-rae immediately. Mi-rae is on the street collecting news material when the chairman deliberately strikes up a conversation, asking what bus she should take to get to Jamsil. Mi-rae checks the bus stop sign and helps her find the right bus. Just as the chairman is about to ask about Mi-rae's parents, the bus arrives. Mi-rae quickly pushes her onto the bus and enthusiastically swipes her own card for her. Watching the chairman squeezed on the bus, her assistant quickly gathers staff to chase after them. Afterward, the chairman calls Elder Mi-rae, saying she thinks Mi-rae is a good person. Yukyung runs into Elder Mi-rae at the company and questions why she told Kim Shin about the bar where Se-joo was confessing. Since Kim Shin's appearance hurt Se-joo, Elder Mi-rae says she dreamed Yukyung and Kim Shin got married and tells her to stop thinking about Se-joo. Mi-rae applies to producer Bae for for a chance to independently produce a show, proposing the idea of filming a haunted house special. Producer Bae says if this haunted house show succeeds, she'll make her an official writer. To get that haunted house feeling, the production team suggests having Mi-rae record alone, but Mi-rae doesn't know how to film. PD Lee suggests having Se-joo teach Mi-rae, while Se-joo is teaching Mi-rae how to film. Mi-rae apologizes for the confession incident. Se-joo asks Mi-rae why she likes Kim Shin. Mi-rae says it's because elder Mi-rae predicted Kim Shin is Mi-rae's husband. Se-joo smiles, believing love shouldn't be based on someone else's words. That night, elder Mi-rae walks down the street. Because it's too hot, she takes off her hat. Unexpectedly, passers-by give her strange looks. She hurriedly walks to a mirror and discovers her hair is already half white. One day here equals 1 month. She's rapidly aging. At this moment, her brother finds her. With tears in her eyes, elder Mi-rae tells her brother she must stop Kim Shin and Mi-rae from being together and reveals to him that she traveled back in time. Her brother just thinks she's gone crazy again. Just as her brother is about to leave, elder Mi-rae mentions that the scar on Mi-rae's shoulder was caused by her brother burning her. Her brother turns around in shock. This secret was known only to him. At this moment, Mi-rae and Kim Shin are filming in the haunted house. Kim Shin notices Mi-rae's foot is injured. Kim Shin tells Mi-rae to leave immediately to bandage it, but Mi-rae insists on staying to make her debut. Kim Shin can only carefully tend to her wound. Meanwhile, Yukyung invites Se-joo to dinner and asks if Mi-rae said anything afterward. Se-joo says Mi-rae told him she likes Kim Shin more. Just as Yukyung is secretly pleased, Se-joo tells her he won't give up. In the darkness, Kim Shin helps Mi-rae up, and the two gaze at each other under the moonlight. The romantic atmosphere reaches its peak. Kim Shin can't help but lean in with his 15-centimeter lips to kiss Mi-rae. At this moment, Mi-rae suddenly remembers what elder Mi-rae said: if they're together, one of them will die. Mi-rae frantically durges Kim Shin's kiss. By reading the diary left by the owner, they learn that this place isn't actually haunted as rumored, but rather the site of a tragic love story. The male owner suffered from cancer and was tormented by the illness every day. His wife devotedly cared for him without ever leaving his side, but the husband ultimately chose suicide to avoid being a burden to his wife. The wife, missing her husband, chose to follow him in death. Se-joo is editing the footage Mi-rae and Kim Shin brought back. When he sees Kim Shin about to kiss Mi-rae, Se-joo can't bear to watch and pauses the video. Back home, her brother proposes doing a DNA test to verify elder Mi-rae's claims. Elder Mi-rae doesn't hesitate to pull out her own hair. Mi-rae proposes changing the haunted house program into a love story. PD Lee disagrees and directly strips Mi-rae of her writer status. Everyone feels it's unfair to Mirae. 3 days later, her brother receives the DNA test results confirming that elder Mi-rae is indeed his sister from 25 years in the future. Her brother recalls elder Mi-rae's words and finds Mi-rae, telling her to switch to a different TV station. Then he finds Kim Shin and tells him to stay away from Mi-rae. Kim Shin admits he really likes Mi-rae. Her brother says his personality will exhaust the people around him, and he'll truly be ruined in the future. Mi-rae finds Kim Shin and tells him her brother wants her to switch TV stations. Thinking about her brother's words, Kim Shin deliberately acts cold and tells her to make her own decision. Seeing Kim Shin's coldness, Mi-rae sadly leaves. Learning the news, Se-joo finds Mi-rae and begs her to stay. Mi-rae is touched by this. The two go to a convenience store and eat ramen by the window, which happens to be seen by Yukyung passing by. The next day, Yukyung overhears elder Mi-rae and Se-joo on the phone. She sneaks into elder Mi-rae's locker room and finds elder Mi-rae's diary, discovering it's identical to Mi-rae's diary. Opening it, she reads that managing director Park Se-joo got married, and the bride is indeed Seo Yukyung. Yukyung is shocked by this. Soon after, to test Mi-rae, the chairman pretends to be someone sponsoring her grandson's education and happens to run into them. At the same time, elder Mi-rae deliberately invites Kim Shin over for a meal so he can witness all this. Se-joo looks at Kim Shin at the door, feeling smug inside. At this moment, Kim Shin receives a text message revealing through investigation that Se-joo is the chairman's grandson. The chairman asks Mi-rae if she's ever thought about quitting work to marry into a wealthy family and live an easy life with a rich man's son. Mi-rae says marrying into that kind of family would make her lose her dreams. The chairman asks if she likes Se-joo. Mi-rae only says she considers him a friend. Se-joo quickly adds that people's hearts can change. The chairman presses on, asking who the person she likes is. Mi-rae doesn't answer and deliberately changes the subject. Meanwhile, Kim Shin doesn't understand why elder Mi-rae always targets him. Elder Mi-rae recalls her past. After Kim Shin lost his anchor job, he became self-destructive. She would come home exhausted every morning only to find him lounging on the couch watching TV. She knows he wouldn't believe her even if she told him, so she simply stays silent. On the other side, Yukyung is still reading elder Mi-rae's diary. Hearing elder Mi-rae's footsteps, Yukyung quickly tears out a page and hides it in her pocket. Elder Mi-rae sees Yukyung holding her diary and snatches it back. Yukyung probes, asking if elder Mi-rae is envious that she and Se-joo got married. Elder Mi-rae says it's just a novel she wrote. The next day, Yukyung comes to the office and, when no one's around, takes photos of Mi-rae's diary with her phone. Yukyung sends out the torn diary page and the photos, asking someone to confirm if they're from the same person. The haunted house show is being test broadcast with PD Lee excitedly directing from the sidelines. Mi-rae is disappointed seeing her work not being presented according to her vision. But at the end of the show, Kim Shin tells the poignant love story. PD Lee is furious, but Mi-rae's eyes fill with tears. Mi-rae excitedly runs to find Kim Shin, but he's already left. Mi-rae calls Kim Shin, but he sees the phone ringing and doesn't answer. Driving past the company entrance, he sees Mi-rae, recalls what her brother said to him, and sadly drives away. Yukyung receives the diary comparison results confirming the diary entries are from the same person. Yukyung finds Se-joo and tells him everything, informing him that elder Mi-rae traveled back from the future. Se-joo asks, with a smile, what's written in the diary. Yukyung says it says they'll get married. Se-joo laughs and says that's absolutely impossible. Yukyung is very disappointed by this. Soon after, the chairman finds elder Mi-rae, hoping she'll predict her grandson's future. Elder Mi-rae deliberately says Se-joo will become a beggar. The chairman is dissatisfied with this result and asks elder Mi-rae to continue predicting. Elder Mi-rae takes the opportunity to ask her to continue funding her treatment. The chairman naturally doesn't refuse. Mi-rae searches newspapers and magazines for news leads and discovers through investigation a karaoke bar manufacturing fake foreign liquor. So Mi-rae cuts her hair, puts on makeup to look like a job applicant, and buys a pair of recording glasses. She comes to the company to tell everyone she wants to investigate. Mi-rae's idea gets everyone's approval, but her brother objects, worried about her safety. Se-joo offers to personally protect Mi-rae. Her brother asks Se-joo if he knows how to fight. Se-joo boasts that he never lost a fight abroad as a kid. Her brother happily puts his arm around Se-joo and asks him to protect his sister. Watching the three of them leave happily, Kim Shin feels a pang of sadness. Se-joo takes Mi-rae to the karaoke bar and teaches her how to use the hidden camera to film. That night, Se-joo drives Mi-rae home. Outside the door, Mi-rae suddenly thinks of Kim Shin, and at that moment, Kim Shin has his car parked nearby watching Mi-rae. The next day, everyone learns the subway incident caused a huge sensation and they even received a trophy from the emergency board. Everyone decides to go out and celebrate together. Everyone's having fun outside while the proud Kim Shin stays alone in the house, enviously watching everyone play. In the afternoon while cooking, watching his sister and Se-joo happily washing vegetables together, her brother shows a satisfied smile. That night, Se-joo is packing up and Yukyung comes over to help. Se-joo tells Yukyung about taking Mi-rae to meet his grandmother and asks her to say good things about Mi-rae to his grandmother. Yukyung is hurt by this, saying she likes Se-joo too, so why make her do something like this? After dinner, everyone sits around the campfire and her brother suggests everyone share a secret. Kim Shin says he'll go first and directly says he likes Mi-rae. After Kim Shin's public confession, everyone feels awkward. Everyone wishes they could dig a hole in the ground with their toes. Fortunately, her brother steps up and also says he likes Mi-rae. Then everyone joins in the teasing, all saying they like Mi-rae. Kim Shin quickly says he's not joking, but no one pays attention to him and they all keep teasing. Mi-rae feels uncomfortable about this, so she gets up and leaves without a word. Kim Shin sees this and quickly chases after her, then explains that he really does like Mi-rae. Mi-rae says she hasn't felt his sincerity. According to plan, Mi-rae goes to help in the bar's kitchen, preparing to find an opportunity to enter the back room where the fake liquor is made. Kim Shin asks colleagues about the bar where Mi-rae is working, but everyone deliberately avoids him. Producer Bae sees Kim Shin's concern and tells him the address of the bar where Mi-rae works. Kim Shin arrives outside the bar and is recognized by a waiter who says he's a fan. Kim Shin tells the waiter his sister is working inside and asks him to look after her, leaving his phone number. Kim Shin sits by the window across from the bar, ready to keep an eye on the bar's activities. Se-joo comes over and asks Kim Shin why he doesn't just go see Mi-rae directly. Kim Shin instead asks when he'll be fired. Se-joo says seriously that Kim Shin has commercial value to him. A worker making fake liquor suffers alcohol poisoning and is carried out. Mi-rae volunteers, saying she can go in as a replacement. Mi-rae diligently mixes the liquor, but because she's too focused, she attracts the manager's attention. The manager discovers something wrong with Mi-rae's glasses, furiously smashes them on the ground, and ties Mi-rae to a chair. Just then, the waiter comes in to deliver drinks and realizes something's wrong. He calls Kim Shin's phone. Kim Shin quickly notifies Mi-rae's brother and calls the police. Meanwhile, Se-joo receives a call from the undercover waiter and quickly sends his men to stall for time. At this moment, Mi-rae tries to escape but gets beaten by the bearded man. At the critical moment, the waiter rushes in and hits the bearded man with a bottle, untying the rope binding Mi-rae. The police also arrive at this time and take the criminals away. Se-joo congratulates Mi-rae on making this special report so successfully. Mi-rae happily high-fives Se-joo. Watching the two of them with their fingers intertwined, her brother says they really match well. The chairman doesn't agree to broadcasting the fake liquor story on the show. Se-joo and Kim Shin go together to find the chairman to speak up for Mi-rae. The two men work in perfect harmony. The chairman sees that Kim Shin also likes Mi-rae and teases them, saying they've actually joined forces over a woman, so they must be true love. The chairman sees right through their little schemes. Then the chairman asks the question everyone's been wanting to ask: who will ultimately win this woman's heart? Both of them fall silent after hearing this. That night, Se-joo brings a gift to find Mi-rae but overhears Mi-rae confessing to her brother that she likes Kim Shin. Her brother is so angry he's going crazy. He quickly takes elder Mi-rae with him and calls calls out Kim Shin, telling Elder Mi-rae to tell him everything. Elder Mi-rae looks at Kim Shin, who's examining the DNA results, and says she's not Mi-rae who traveled back in time. Kim Shin naturally doesn't believe this. Seeing this, Elder Mi-rae has no choice but to tell him that in the days to come, he'll marry Mi-rae. Before marriage, Kim Shin will be hired by NTN TV station with a 1 billion won contract, but that will be the beginning of all their misfortune. Soon Kim Shin will be fired for arguing with the management department and incur a 1 billion won penalty. From then on, Mi-rae will work desperately every day to help Kim Shin pay off the debt. But when Mi-rae drags her exhausted body home each day, she gets no comfort from Kim Shin. Mi-rae's brother can't stand watching his sister work so hard to make money and suggests Kim Shin host small banquets, but Kim Shin's proud personality refuses to agree, and Kim Shin numbs himself with alcohol every day. Over time, as their child needs more money, Mi-rae gradually can't stand Kim Shin's behavior and they start fighting frequently, until one day, they get into another argument on the street and don't notice that their child has left their side. With the sound of a crash, their child leaves the world forever. After hearing this, Kim Shin's heart begins to waver. Meanwhile, Se-joo expresses his feelings to Mi-rae, telling her he fell in love with her before Kim Shin did. Mi-rae doesn't want to hold Se-joo back and is about to politely decline, but Se-joo says unless he sees her happy, he won't let go. Mi-rae asks Kim Shin out for a meal. A little boy runs over and falls to the ground. Mi-rae quickly helps the little boy up. Kim Shin sees this scene and thinks of Elder Mi-rae crying over losing their child. At this moment, Kim Shin also begins to feel afraid. Mi-rae returns home and, looking at her sleeping self from 25 years in the future, lies quietly beside her and softly says she'll work hard and won't let her travel back because of an unhappy life. Yukyung finds the chairman and tells her about Elder Mi-rae's time travel. Unexpectedly, the chairman thinks Yukyung is doing this because she wants to get Se-joo and warns her that even without Mi-rae, Se-joo's marriage partner could never be Seo Yukyung. That night, Se-joo asks Mi-rae out to wish her an early Merry Christmas and tells her he's leaving soon. Mi-rae asks where he's going. Se-joo doesn't answer and just hugs Mi-rae tightly. Just as Elder Mi-rae predicted, Kim Shin receives an invitation from NTN TV station. Kim Shin asks Elder Mi-rae out and asks why she didn't travel back to before their child's accident, and if there's something big she's hiding from him. Elder Mi-rae nods but doesn't tell him what happened. At the same time, Se-joo goes to Jeju Island, walking on the beach recalling the first time he saw Mi-rae. Thinking of Mi-rae's bright smile, Se-joo's heart throbs. On Christmas Day, everyone receives notice of Kim Shin's leave and Se-joo's resignation. Just as Mi-rae is feeling sad, she suddenly receives a text from Kim Shin asking her to meet him at a restaurant for dinner. Mi-rae is excited. When Mi-rae arrives at the restaurant, she discovers Kim Shin is with a wealthy heiress. Mi-rae quietly sits nearby and calls Kim Shin. Kim Shin picks up his phone but doesn't answer. Realizing Kim Shin's intention, Mi-rae is saddened and gets up to leave. Watching Mi-rae's figure outside the window, Kim Shin holds back his pain, while Mi-rae silently cries alone on the street. The next day, Mi-rae finds Kim Shin and asks why he did this. Kim Shin says he's giving Mi-rae a signal to leave on her own and hopes she won't bother him anymore. Mi-rae asks if he has some unspeakable difficulty. Kim Shin says if a man really likes a woman, he'll want to possess her no matter what, so he never liked her. Mi-rae's heart is deeply wounded, and she turns and leaves crying. Heartbroken, Mi-rae can only go to the company restroom to get some fresh air and compose herself. When she washes her face and returns to the office, she sees company executives crowding around Se-joo. Mi-rae is very surprised. Before she can speak, her brother pulls her aside. After a while, Mi-rae learns that Se-joo is the TV station's heir and is currently learning to take over the station. Se-joo calls Mi-rae to the library, hoping she'll treat him the same as before and not distance herself because he's the chairman's grandson. When they come out, they're spotted by Kim Shin. Mi-rae and Kim Shin pass each other without acknowledging one another. Soon after, photos of Kim Shin dating the wealthy heiress are secretly taken and posted online, causing a big stir at the company. After seeing this, Mi-rae hides in the changing room and silently cries. Se-joo comes over and thoughtfully comforts Mi-rae. Mi-rae's defenses crumble instantly. She grabs Se-joo's clothes and asks him why he's so good to her and why he's so considerate. Se-joo doesn't say anything and just stays gently by her side. Yukyung finds Elder Mi-rae and blames her for manipulating other people's destinies, sacrificing others' happiness for her own. After Yukyung leaves, Elder Mi-rae falls into deep thought. Mi-rae returns home and overhears Elder Mi-rae's conversation with her brother, blaming them for hiding things from her. Elder Mi-rae has no choice but to tell Mi-rae that after their child died, the two of them argued for 20 years. During one argument, Mi-rae blurted out telling Kim Shin to go die. Having lost hope in life, Kim Shin really rushed out the door and ran into the middle of the road. And just like that, Kim Shin also left her. Learning the truth, Mi-rae cries uncontrollably. The next day, Mi-rae and Yukyung go out together to film a show. Since it's her first time as head writer, Yukyung encourages Mi-rae, saying she'll definitely do well. The show is successfully completed, and everyone affirms Mi-rae's abilities. Se-joo also comes over to praise Mi-rae. Just then, Kim Shin announces to everyone that today is his last time hosting the show and that he'll be leaving the Pandora's Box program starting today. With that, Kim Shin turns and leaves the TV station. Mi-rae immediately wants to chase after him but is stopped by Se-joo. Mi-rae says she just wants to to say goodbye to him. Only then does Se-joo's anxious heart calm down. Mi-rae asks Kim Shin if he chose to leave because of her and says elder Mi-rae already told her what will happen in 25 years. She also says she's really sorry for telling him to go die. Kim Shin says he just wants to succeed and it has nothing to do with anyone else. Mi-rae holds back her pain and tells Kim Shin that maybe this is the best choice for both of them. Kim Shin laughs and thanks Mi-rae for traveling back from 25 years in the future to stop them from being together. Thanks to her, he can live a completely different life, and he sincerely hopes she and Se-joo will be happy together. After leaving, Kim Shin sadly sits on the roadside. Meanwhile, Mi-rae is also heartbroken and crying non-stop. Se-joo thoughtfully hands her his handkerchief. Mi-rae gently takes it, and looking at Se-joo, she says this is the last time she'll cry over Kim Shin. That night, elder Mi-rae opens her notebook and discovers the recorded content hasn't changed at all. The scar Mi-rae got in the haunted house hasn't appeared on her own foot either. Elder Mi-rae is very confused. The next day, Mi-rae arrives at the company and finds the security guard is very attentive to her. Female colleagues are also gossiping about her relationship with director Se-joo. Se-joo calls Mi-rae to meet up, but Mi-rae doesn't want colleagues to misunderstand, so she wants to meet him outside. Se-joo says he knows a perfect place. Elder Mi-rae prepares a table full of dishes waiting for Mi-rae, only to discover Se-joo came home with Mi-rae. Her brother, elder Mi-rae, Se-joo, and Mi-rae sit together for dinner. Everyone chats happily like a family. After dinner, Se-joo comes to visit Mi-rae's room and says her room is as warm as he imagined and makes him feel very relaxed. With that, he lies on the bed saying he's too tired and closes his eyes. Watching the sleeping Se-joo, Mi-rae gently covers him with her pink Barbie coat. Her brother happily tells elder Mi-rae in the living room that the more he looks at Se-joo, the better he likes him. The next day, Se-joo wants to buy clothes for Mi-rae, telling her to take whatever she likes and he'll buy everything for her. Mi-rae jokes, saying don't regret it, women never have enough clothes. Just then, Se-joo sees Kim Shin and the wealthy heiress nearby too. Se-joo lies, saying there's no discount now, and quickly pulls Mi-rae away. Mi-rae laughs, saying rich people are even stingier. Se-joo quickly says they should pick a better, more expensive place, but Mi-rae takes Se-joo to Dong Demon Wholesale Market instead. The two happily try on hats. Mi-rae picks out men's clothing for Se-joo. Se-joo says pitifully that he already has plenty of clothes and reminds her that today is about buying clothes for her. Mi-rae says the clothes are for another man. Se-joo nervously asks who. Mi-rae laughs, saying it's her brother, of course. Meanwhile, her brother, wearing the new clothes elder Mi-rae bought him, arrives at an upscale restaurant only to learn his sister brought him here for a blind date. Never having dated before, her brother nervously tries to escape but is pulled back by his sister. Watching her brother on the blind date, elder Mi-rae's eyes glisten with tears. Having done all this, elder Mi-rae prepares to take the time machine back to her own world, but the man in black doesn't know how to operate the time machine. Elder Mi-rae senses something's wrong, snatches the time machine manual, and asks why there's no scar on her foot and why the diary hasn't changed. The man in black has no choice but to tell the truth. After elder Mi-rae returns to her own world, nothing here will change. She's only changed the fate of Mi-rae in this timeline, because elder Mi-rae and Mi-rae aren't in the same timeline at all. They're completely independent of each other. After hearing this, elder Mi-rae drops the manual and frantically runs out of the time machine. Elder Mi-rae runs wildly down the street. She wants to tell Mi-rae all of this. At this moment, Se-joo is holding Mi-rae's hand, about to walk her home. Mi-rae mentions that when she went to Jeju Island before, she almost drowned in the ocean, but someone saved her, though she still hasn't found the savior. Se-joo tells Mi-rae that he's that savior and that he fell in love with her at first sight and has been silently liking her ever since. Mi-rae is moved. Se-joo takes out a ring he's been preparing and proposes to Mi-rae. Seeing that Mi-rae doesn't refuse, Se-joo takes Mi-rae's hand and puts the ring on her finger. The two happily embrace. Meanwhile, Kim Shin looks at the contract terms, which clearly state that in case of breach, he'll pay double the penalty. Kim Shin recalls what elder Mi-rae said, but to make Mi-rae give up on him, he still signs the contract. Elder Mi-rae finds her brother and tells him what the man in black said. Her brother tells elder Mi-rae not to tell Mi-rae the truth, hoping his sister can be happy with Se-joo. The next day, Se-joo takes Mi-rae to a party with wealthy people. He thought Mi-rae would really dislike this kind of occasion, but surprisingly, Mi-rae happily says she's curious about what kind of people Se-joo associates with. Just as they arrive at the banquet hall, they run into Kim Shin and the wealthy heiress. Se-joo deliberately takes Mi-rae's hand and introduces her as his girlfriend. During the meal, Se-joo learns from friends that the wealthy heiress really likes Kim Shin and is preparing to get engaged to him. Hearing this, Mi-rae makes an excuse to get up and go out to clear her mind, but unexpectedly runs into Kim Shin. Mi-rae asks Kim Shin if he's doing well. Kim Shin says, as you can see, very well. Mi-rae smiles and says the two of them are a good match. After Mi-rae leaves, Kim Shin finally releases his emotions, and tears stream down his face. Seeing Mi-rae return from her absence, Se-joo anxiously stands up and asks where she went. Mi-rae doesn't say anything and just looks at Se-joo with a gentle expression. Mi-rae returns home and sees her future self from 25 years ahead. saying she's really grateful she traveled back to change her fate. Kim Shin is doing so much better now than when he was with her. After hearing this, elder Mi-rae feels she's hurt many people, but she doesn't have the courage to tell Mi-rae the truth. The next day, Mi-rae sees a man with a blood letter on his body. The man wants to seek justice for his deceased son because using Taegyu Corporation's humidifier, the disinfectant inside caused severe lung damage to his 2-year-old son, leading to his death. Because Taegyu Corporation is a major advertising supplier to all media outlets and has enormous influence, no TV station dares to report his grievances. Just as Mi-rae is about to leave, she discovers 2 reporters interviewing him. Seeing the NTN logo on the reporters' bags, Mi-rae immediately realizes this is related to Kim Shin. Mi-rae calls Elder Mi-rae and asks about the reason for Kim Shin's breach of contract and debt. Elder Mi-rae says Kim Shin will suffer this fate because he reported content his superiors told him not to report. Counting the days, it's today. At the same time, the wealthy heiress tells Kim Shin not to get involved in this matter, or he'll be ruined. Kim Shin doesn't understand why doing the right thing is wrong. The victim runs to the TV station to find Kim Shin, believing he's a conscientious media person and hoping he'll help broadcast the story of what happened to his son. Kim Shin recalls what the wealthy heiress said and turns to leave. Before the evening news begins, looking at messages about the increasing number of victims from the disinfectant, Kim Shin sighs deeply. Just as the show is about to end, Kim Shin still reveals that the humidifier disinfectant produced by Taegyu Corporation is harmful to people, with over 20 people suffering serious lung damage or even death. Everyone is shocked by Kim Shin's actions. Mi-rae finds her colleagues, hoping everyone will work together to broadcast this story on the TV station. After Mi-rae's persuasion, everyone agrees to fight alongside her. Mi-rae finds Se-joo and tells him her idea. Because Taegyu Corporation is the TV station's main revenue source, Se-joo is unwilling to oppose them. Mi-rae is somewhat disappointed. Se-joo asks if it's because of Kim Shin. Mi-rae says she can't ignore the victims, and helping conscientious media people is also his wish, isn't it? After Mi-rae leaves, Se-joo thinks about what she said and finally picks up the phone and tells Mi-rae to go ahead and do it. The chairman sees the broadcast and is furious, losing her temper at Se-joo. Unexpectedly, Se-joo directly throws down a resignation letter. The chairman finds Mi-rae and tells her to leave Se-joo, believing Mi-rae influenced him. She warns Mi-rae that if she doesn't agree, she'll make sure Kim Shin can't survive in this industry. Thinking Mi-rae would compromise, she never expected Mi-rae to say boldly that she won't break up with him, adding that a person's heart won't be shaken by the pressure of power. That night, Mi-rae calls Se-joo to her home and prepares a hearty meal for him. Se-joo tells Mi-rae he wants to study abroad. He doesn't want to do things he doesn't like, under his grandmother's protection, and hopes to improve his abilities to create more valuable media content. Se-joo wants Mi-rae to go with him. Mi-rae says she wants to be apart from him for a while, saying she's been accepting his efforts all along and wants to do something for him too. She wants more time to become a person who can help Se-joo. With that, Mi-rae takes off the engagement ring and tells Se-joo that if his heart hasn't changed in the future, he can give it to her then. Se-joo smiles, holds Mi-rae's hand, and tells her to keep wearing it, saying his feelings won't change. Mi-rae gets up to pour tea. Se-joo hugs Mi-rae from behind. Mi-rae gently holds Se-joo's hand, tears streaming down her face. Then the man in black brings news that Kim Shin from the other world was revived through CPR. Elder Mi-rae decides to leave and return to her own world. At the same time, Kim Shin leaves the TV station, but his actions gain affirmation from many people. When Kim Shin walks out of the TV station, he sees Mi-rae walking toward him. Mi-rae tells him about Elder Mi-rae leaving and tells him that Elder Mi-rae's Kim Shin is still alive, but she still won't be with Kim Shin. After all, who would want to be with a man who owes 1 billion won in debt? Kim Shin laughs and pats Mi-rae's head. 3 years later on Christmas Eve, Mi-rae is already a well-known writer and is even invited by Yu-kyung to appear on her show. Today happens to be the day her new book is released. Se-joo finishes his study abroad early and returns home. The butler prepares to pick up Se-joo, but Se-joo says he wants to go somewhere. Mi-rae's brother has also gotten married and had children, with a second child on the way. Kim Shin also won his lawsuit with a lawyer's help, changing the fate of his billion-won debt, and hosts an online show that receives many positive reviews. That night, Mi-rae comes to a bookstore and picks up her new book. Just as she's walking past, Kim Shin walks over, and at this moment, Se-joo also arrives at this bookstore. Perhaps this is fate. Mi-rae passes by both men. Mi-rae, who was about to leave, seems to think of something and quickly turns back, but the sight of the 2 men in front of her fills her with mixed emotions. The finale of this drama is an open ending that doesn't reveal whether Mi-rae chooses Se-joo or Kim Shin. If it were you, what would you choose? Please share your choice in the comments. And with that, the recap of the Korean drama, Future Choice, comes to a complete end. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Dino Kadrama. See you in the next Korean drama.